I do these every month. You know me, I'm Laura Johns, founder and CEO of the Business Growers. We're going to talk about a topic that comes up a lot. Did anybody ever play chase when they were on the playground in middle school or elementary school, right? So that's not necessarily something that we expected to do as adults, but somehow we find ourselves in a business where we're still chasing deals and trying to figure out how to get out of this, get our leads and prospects out of a black hole. So this session today is all about how we're going to stand out, how we're going to simplify our message and fixing any spots in your sales process where those prospects go dark. So we're going to talk specifically about that. I'm going to share my screen and get started. Yep. Thumbs up if y'all can see my screen. Yep. All right. So if you caught our April session on referral systems, today really builds on that really nicely. If you didn't catch that, then this one stands alone. No worries. But you can go to our YouTube channel, which we can drop a link. Anna on my team's going to drop a link for our YouTube channel. But I do really like to make these interactive today. I don't know if, it's just that summer's here or what. We have a couple of less than usual, which is not a bad thing. I think sometimes we have the most fruitful conversations when we have a smaller crowd. But I do want to make this interactive. Love the webcam being on if you are able. And I'm just going to be checking in and asking questions throughout this process as we talk so that we can kind of understand what's going on in each other's businesses and make the most out of it. So if you can give me a yes in the chat, if you're willing to participate, give me a yes. Thanks, Samantha, for the camera on. I always like seeing your face. We post all of our webinars and a lot of short digestible tips. My kids love that I'm on YouTube. They think it's really funny. I kind of hate it, cringe every time I see it, but I do like to use this method and suggest you do the same in terms of serving your clients on a YouTube channel. Google's actually now prioritizing some YouTube over website and other things on search engines. So it's a great opportunity just to get your message out there. But everything that we do is recorded, so it's a great resource. You can follow us by going to YouTube and subscribe at the Business Growers. We'd love for you to do that. For those of you who don't know me, I think most of you do, but if you don't, before the Business Growers, I spent about a decade working specifically for a managed services provider and have honestly, as a marketing leader in this industry, have lived and breathed the unpredictability of sales. And so what I do here for many of you on the call, some of us just getting started, is I help MSPs, telecom companies, IT businesses build engines, referral engines, conversion engines, and scalable systems that really help create a solid brand and consistent pipeline to go with that. Ground rules, just you showed up today. Thank you for showing up. Pat yourself on the back. You blocked an hour for this. So I always like to say, like, hey, you showed up. That's the toughest part sometimes. Shut everything down, close out Teams, turn the cell phone off, give this your attention, and really put your participant hat on. Some of the things that we're going to talk about today may be overly familiar. Some of the things we talk about today may not be. So I want all of us just to know, hey, I may not be an expert at everything. It's kind of just taking that participant mentality as we go deeper and flesh things out in this conversation. So if you are willing to put on your participant hat today, give me participant in the chat so we can see that you're ready to participate. All right. Love it. Yep, perfect. Participant, thank you. Okay, thank you so much. So, all right. If you have ever had a lead go cold, drop a 1 in the chat. I'm the first one to drop a 1 in the chat, right? We've all had a lead go cold. I'm going to drop a 1 too. If you don't type 1 right now, then I really don't know if you're being honest here, but it happens to all of us. What about this scenario? I'll get a number 3 in the chat if you've been in this. Have you ever spent 3 or more invested time in 3 or more sales calls with a prospect or sales conversations with a prospect only to lose them for some reason, perhaps price or something else? My sales conversations are not, I have a lot of other friends in marketing that say, oh, I have 1 call closes. They take 15 minutes. That's not the case when you serve IT businesses. So we've all we've all been ghosted after making a large investment of your own time, right, into these prospect calls. So typically, there's a reason for this, and that's really what we're going to do today is dig into some of those things, like why is this happening? Um, so here's what we're going to cover today. We're going to unpack why your prospects may be going dark so that we can understand it and fix it. We're going to talk about how we can craft messaging that really sets us apart. And I know I had some conversations with niching down and other things with several of you on the call. So we want to make sure that we're crafting messaging that is ensuring that we're not just another IT company. Then we're going to talk about building trust using proof points and case studies and things like that in your content. It's harder to get that content developed, to be quite honest, as a marketing team. It takes effort, but we do want to make sure that we are thinking about trust building. And then we're going to talk about how to package and position your services so you're not going to get stuck in a price war. We want to make sure that our prospects are understanding value. And then we're going to talk about how to automate your follow-up systems and stay top of mind for these people. These are all things that combined will help us kind of fix that gap and keep us from getting ghosted by our prospects. Also today, if you haven't taken advantage of this on the last webinar, I have a 360 digital marketing audit that I'm offering. I'll put the link in the chat at the end of this if you're interested in that. Actually, Anna just put the link in the chat for me. Anna, you can go ahead and send it to everybody. Yep, perfect. If you're interested in that, it's an hour with me. We actually do a lot of homework. So we do ask if you're going to fill this out to be sure that you're going to invest the hour with us and show up. Because we spend a lot of time developing basically a 1 hour session where we tell you what things we would suggest you fix first in your marketing plan. Okay. Why are your prospects going dark? And I also want to hear from you. Does anybody have, here are a couple things. We'll talk about these things. And I want to know if you have anything else that comes to mind. But one, first is you sound like everybody else. And I have a really funny slide to show you here in just a minute. If you're saying the same thing as everybody else, great service, fast response times, proactive monitoring. I see Tony nodding. Tony just got caught. Prospects can't tell the difference, so they freeze. So that's number one. Two, they don't see clear value. The connection between your service and their outcomes isn't clear. I'm going to talk about this in a little bit, but one of the things that we do in technology is we make things a little bit too complicated. We want to tell everybody everything instead of telling them just specifically what it does for their business and how they can sleep better. So it's hard for them to justify moving forward. Third, trust has not been established. This is a big reason that people might go dark along the sales process. You've missed proof points and opportunities to show them case studies, testimonials, things like that. They hesitate because they don't know for certain that you can deliver. And the only way to prove it is to show them that you've done it before. And then also pricing could be all over the map depending on how you price your services versus other technology providers. So they don't need to know just price. They need to understand what the true value is for them. And that should be, if we're doing it right, it should be priceless, right? So if we're communicating in a way that's effective, then there's really no price that they could argue against because you want to make sure that we're communicating value. And then fifth, you're not following up. You don't have time. You only want people that are hot and ready to buy, hot Little Caesars, hot and ready, right? You only want people who are ready to buy right now. And so we're not following up. And then somebody else did follow up. So that other competitor of yours gets the business. Is there anything else? Just open, you can turn off mute for a minute. Anything else that you've identified that you feel like, hey, this is why I feel like our prospects go dark, or do these just about cover it? And you can type in the chat or say it out loud. Does this cover it? Yeah, pretty much covers it. Okay, good. Well, if you think of anything, So point one, this is kind of a big problem in our industry, is that whether you're an MSP or you're telecom specific or you're connectivity specific or you're doing all of those things, if you go to about 5 or 6 different competitors' websites, you will see the same messaging, the same calls to action, 24/7 monitoring 100 times. Or my personal favorite is, and I might be stepping on some toes. Y'all ready? Your trusted IT partner. Look at this. We got your trusted IT partner, your trusted IT partner, your trusted partner. So in this sample, we just, thanks to Anna on my team, we scrubbed some websites and we basically called a couple people out. But if we don't sound different from every other website they're going to, and remember, your prospects are doing 80% of their research online. There you go. Intelligent technology. That's right. That's right. I love intelligent. Samantha, good comment. But if you are not able to show them the difference between you and everybody else, then they're definitely not going to be able to pick up on what's different about you. A couple of books that I love, and I've mentioned these before. The Building a Story Brand framework is an excellent framework, especially for this industry, because we really like to make it about us and how great we are. And so this is kind of a big part. This is not flashy. This is not fancy, but these are really foundational in helping you, one, define your difference, and then secondly, constantly communicate about what that is. So these are foundational books. I really love them. But first, you want to define your difference. What makes you better for your ideal client? And it's not, we care more. I mean, are you faster? Are you insanely proactive? Are you the go-to for medical practices or dentistry, or, people who can't afford downtime? Those types of really, things that are kind of a little nitty-gritty, but specific to a problem and an outcome. And then secondly, this is also going to step on toes, but we don't have to be front and center with our features list. So if 24/7 monitoring is something that you do, that's great, but the chances of your competition also doing that is pretty high. So instead, say something like, we prevent 99% of IT issues before they impact your business. You see how that sounds different? One of them builds trust, and then one of them kind of blends in. Third, get specific and bold. When you speak confidently and clearly, you become really memorable. And then this one is very hard because a lot of us sit in sales or marketing seats, but I'm going to say this, and it's Stop Selling. The book They Ask You Answer is a great model for, and I've said this in other webinars before, but hey, sit down with your leadership team and think about every single question that your prospects might be asking the internet. 80% of their research is done on the internet. And start writing content, blogs, videos, YouTube, whatever, to address those specific questions. Serving with content, if your content, your emails, your proposals, all of those come from a posture of helping instead of hustling for the signature, prospects can really feel that. And that's how you go from vendor to partner. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm not patting our own back, but I do believe that we have somebody on the call that actually found us through a video on YouTube or through us serving. So that's just kind of proof that it does happen that way. Donald Miller in the book Building a Story Brand says, and I love the way he says it, is if you confuse, you lose. And it's, again, in technology, really easy to do this, but keep in mind, people are busy. Your prospects either own business or they own a business themselves, or they're running a whole IT department, right? One of those two, usually. And so by nature, we're built to be drawn to things that help us survive and thrive as humans. Like if you think back to the caveman days, like we just want survival. Like we're just, water and food or whatever it is that helps us survive, right? So if your prospect doesn't know in just a second how your company helps them survive and thrive, they're gone. They'll go find somebody else that makes more sense of this. So we want to be careful not to require too many, what Donna Miller calls mental calories. for them by coming to your website. If they're having to figure out and piece together, how much brain space do you have on any given day? Like zero. There's so much, right? So tell them exactly who you serve and the outcomes you provide. Okay. Who do you serve and the outcomes that you provide? Go to your website right now. I'll wait. And Samantha, you're excused because we've already done yours. So, um, how long in seconds by looking at your website would it take for someone to know exactly what you do? The outcome that you provide for them, not your list of your services, not a list of your features, right? It shouldn't take more than a second. And most importantly, your mindset requirement for your differentiating message is to remember that it's not about you. It is not about how great you are. It is not about your tech stack. It is not about how fast you are. It is about them, the outcome that they are looking for. So here's a little practical example. You close your eyes and step into your inbox for a minute. You've just received both of these emails from two different IT providers back to back. Just so happens they're popping emails on the same day. Okay. And one of it says on the left, you see this. Okay. And let's pretend, okay. Back it up a little bit. You are Susan. Susan is the office manager who really influences the decision that the CEO is making because they don't have an IT person yet. They're not that big. Okay. So you've got a CEO making the decision, and Susan is the office manager, basically running the ship, as we know they do, right? So Susan gets both of these emails. Is she going to go with the one on the left or one on the right? Is she going to respond? Which one is she going to respond to you on? Or which one is she going to respond to? Give me a left or right in the chat. Good job, Smith. You get a cookie. We're going to go with the right. The first one says we offer 24/7 IT support, cloud migration, and cybersecurity services for your business. How much of that speaks to Susan? That's right, Tony. The second one says we help healthcare practices eliminate IT downtime, secure patient data, and focus on patient care, not tech issues. Totally different experience, right? Totally different experience. This is a message that feels personal, it's clear, it's confident, and most importantly, it tells Susan what she's going to get, not just what you do. And this is the power of messaging that focuses on outcomes, not features. Okay. Trust, but any questions about any of that? Messaging, we're kind of moving on from messaging. Any thoughts, questions? Everybody gets a cookie. And it's giving everybody cookies that answer that. So, okay. So now we're going to talk about building trust with proof. Okay. This is something that we don't often spend a lot of time on because it takes time to do it. But you can have the best messaging in the world, but if you don't back it up with proof, then your prospects are going to hesitate. This is an investment, not only of their time and resources and money, but also like a very important part, if not the most important part of their business, their IT or their connectivity or whatever keeps them going, right? So people don't just want to be told, they want to be shown. How do you build trust? Client success stories. Tell the stories about the problems you've solved and the wins that you've helped deliver. If anyone gives you a positive Google review or after an installation sends you an email and says, hey, we really appreciate this, you've done this better than anybody that we've ever, whatever, you get those messages from your prospects and your clients, excuse me, not prospects, but your clients. So that's the best opportunity to say, hey, would you share this in a quick video? And I think we get overwhelmed because we think it has to be overly produced or fancy. My team right now is reaching out to our current customers that we, have had good successes with and is asking them to do a Zoom video. Is it the best quality? Probably not. But is it less expensive than flying all over the country to produce a video? 100%. So real client success stories, case studies and testimonials. So showcasing those measurable results. If you have a customer that you've reduced downtime by 40%, something like that, or we've helped a healthcare client sail through HIPAA audit with zero findings, or whatever those things are, those are specific and those are trust building versus they're happy. That's good. If they're happy, we still want to capture it, but those real measurable results really do make a difference. They honestly, your prospects want to see themselves in your client stories, right? They want to see a picture of what success looks like. And the best way to do that is to show them. And then third, we want helpful expert content. This goes back to that book that I just mentioned. They ask you answer. Great exercise. Sit down with your team and say, hey, write down your top 20 questions that our prospects are asking, and then put them all together, see which ones overlap, and then create content around all those questions. Blogs, guides, videos, whatever fits your style, whatever you're able to do. But when you're constantly sharing this information, social media, YouTube, you don't have to sell anything. You're just sharing this information, and it positions you as the go-to guide in this particular topic and not just another vendor. Also, people are vetting out, who they're looking for, who they're making a decision. Maybe they've gotten a call from somebody on your team. If they can go to your website and see these stories or go to your social media and feel like you're helping them, you're not just a vendor. They see you and they see how you can actually make an impact in their business. And then lastly, show proof, not promises. Everybody can say they deliver great service. And I tell people this, and this hurts a lot of times because I do step on toes when I say this, but a lot of times I'll sit in a brand messaging session with a client and I'll say, okay, what really sets you apart and makes you different? And if you say your relationships, while that may be true, your relationship with your customer, that is not something they can tangibly see or feel on the other side of the sale. They just have to experience it. So don't say relationships, because that's not really something that somebody's going to buy on, in my opinion. But if you're just saying you can deliver versus having other client stories, voices, data, percentages, all those kinds of things, that builds immense credibility, big time credibility. Has anybody, just give me a thumbs up in the chat, has anybody had a prospect ask, can I talk to one of your clients before we move forward? Thumbs up in the chat. We got one. Anybody ask for a reference or wanted to talk to somebody before moving forward? So I think I see Tony nodding. So if that's the case, then that means that you could be creating this content so that it makes it easier for them to find it before they even ask, or you're able just to send it. Sure, you're welcome to call so-and-so, but here's 10 examples of happy clients or whatever. So you just have an arsenal. So I'm going to show you a sample of selling versus serving, especially when it comes to something like email copy, okay? Which we all use in our outreach. So this is a selling email copy. We starts with we help companies like yours improve. Now, it's not terrible, right? This is not terrible, but you're basically giving them kind of that same thing we sent to Susan. And it's clear that our objective is to sell this person, right? Now let's look at a different approach. I came across a common issue that's been hitting companies in healthcare. Thought you'd appreciate a quick tip. A lot of time we're running into HIPAA compliance issues, and we found out that doing X, Y, and Z can cut down on those issues by 30 to 50%. If you want, I'm happy to share a few insights or examples of companies that we help. No pressure, just let me know if this is helpful. Who would not say, yeah? You feel the difference in those two emails? One is to sell, one shows up to help. And the funny thing is when you focus on serving, the rest really does take care of itself. It really does. Okay, this is uncomfortable. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Everything's okay, y'all. But it's okay to talk. Look, my dad is probably one of my best life advisors, Lamar. Okay. Everybody here at the Business Growers knows about Lamar. He has always said throughout my career that we aren't afraid to talk about salary or pay to our boss because you're showing up to work to get paid, right? We're not afraid to have those conversations. In the same way, no one is going to purchase from you and expecting it for free. Now, it does seem like it sometimes. Sometimes it seems like they want to get a lot for nothing. But if you address the price component up front, then you really cut out on a lot of the price wars toward the end, which is where people start ghosting you or get stuck. So if you feel like you're getting ghosted a lot and you start looking, you're like, they start leaving or tucking tail when we talk about money, then we know we need to address this on the front end and move away from price-based selling. That's how you package and position your services. So when you hand over a proposal or a pricing sheet or whatever it is, it's just a list of services, monitoring, backup, patch management, cybersecurity, whatever those things are. They immediately see all these line items, and that can give them motivation to start price shopping on the line items. Okay. And so they can go line item that against every other proposal that they have because you just gave them every detail. So my suggestion is selling outcomes, not features. Instead of saying 24/7 monitoring and patch management, say we prevent costly downtime so your business stays online no matter what. Now, if you've got an IT buyer, they're probably going to want to see more specifics, which can happen in that technical sales call or whatever. But from a proposal and delivery standpoint, we want to stick to outcomes, okay? And then bundle for impact. So group your services in. I'm a big fan of pricing tiers, maybe creating 3 tiers and trying to get, kind of trying to sell to the middle. Very rarely is anybody going to buy the highest. Usually they're going to buy the lowest. So you try to, put some features in that middle that really makes them want to buy the middle. But you want to bundle for impact when you're creating your pricing structure. So group your services into packages that solve specific problems for or like fit specific client types. If it simplifies the decision for them because there's something of such value that they need, it raises the perceived value. So think about what some of these pain points are. And a lot of times it's like they don't know what cybersecurity means, right? Or what it really means. So putting some of those outcomes, protection type outcomes in that middle tier really helps. Instead of saying, firewall setup, antivirus backup sold separately, put our business protection bundle, name it something that sounds nice, include security data recovery, threat monitoring in one plan or something like that. Is this helpful? Thumbs up if this is helpful. Good. Great. Okay. Also highlighting peace of mind in your proposals. I think a lot of times I think I heard the other day, Carrie Underwood on, American Idol saying that she does the post and ghost. So anytime she posts on social media, she posts it and then she doesn't look at the comments because everybody's going to, say, who would have anything bad to say about Carrie Underwood, but apparently people do. But a lot of times we'll send the proposal and we're like, worried about or post and ghost, like post and then worried about what they're going to say. If you're highlighting peace of mind and value on these proposals, you just make sure you're communicating the why behind what you offer. It's not just IT support. It's less stress for them, fewer headaches, more time for them to focus on clients and their own business. So, instead of you get weekly reports and system updates, it's, hey, rest easy knowing your systems are secure, updated, and monitored so you can focus on growing your business. How great does that sound, right? And then lastly, making pricing just simple and clear. Drop the word me in the chat if you've ever had a client say, can we just remove this line item and bring the price down? Don't you love that when they start picking and choosing, And I always like to say, type of me in the chat if you've had somebody try to just take something out. I always like to say, and I've said this to my team before, actually, when you go to a Mexican restaurant and you ask for guacamole, did they charge you? Yeah, they do charge you. Guacamole ain't cheap. I don't know if y'all noticed. They may not charge you, Tony, but they charge me. Maybe Tony's got a special Mexican restaurant he goes to. I don't know. But they're going to charge me 10 times out of 10. It's expected that it costs more. And the way that you're bundling your services, um, you know, and the way that you're communicating the value of this packaging, it really helps kind of eliminate that painful conversation. Like, that's just not how, that's not going to serve you the best. We want to make sure that you're protected. It's kind of like, taking something off a car, that's important. That's a critical, important piece. Like, all of it goes together in what you're doing. So, if you make your pricing too complex, it's going to erode trust. No one really wants to start digging in and investigating. So instead of saying, it's 99 per endpoint plus hourly support, just say one monthly price covers everything, no surprises, no confusion. Right. Making sure that make sure that your prices and packages are easy to understand and support the value that you're delivering. That's the crux of this. Okay. And then we're going to talk about next automating those follow-ups. If you know me at all, you have seen this before. I'm sorry I'm showing it again. But I like to remind people only 3% of your total buying audience is on the right side. That little girl that's winking at us. She knows that she's only 3%. So automation is what helps you stay in their brains the whole way along. One of the easiest and most overlooked ways to convert more opportunities and get them ready to buy is to set up automation that supports this buying journey. IT, telecom, connectivity, unless they are having a flat out catastrophe, which happens sometimes, but can we count on that for a pipeline and number that we got to hit? No, you can't count on catastrophes. You got to count on having people in your pipeline that are being warmed up until they get ready to buy. So not every prospect's ready to buy today. Some are 6 months or so out or more. Some are waiting on budget approval. Some are just kicking tires and not making it a priority because, their computer turned on today. So that's fine. But a mistake that I see all the time is that we're focusing on hot leads and we forget to stay in touch with the warm or cool ones. So when they're, what ends up happening is when they're ready to buy, they don't remember you. You haven't served them. You haven't provided them good content. They haven't heard from you in 18 months. So they call whoever it is in their inbox that did stay top of mind, right? Or whoever did check on them. So here's how to fix that. First, you nurture with value-driven emails, set up automated sequences. And I always say the content is important, yes. But the consistency of your name we're able to monitor activity, any of that kind of stuff. Oh, wait, am I frozen? Okay, good. Sorry, I had a little blip. So nurturing them with value-driven emails, setting up automated sequences that help you, deliver this value that we've talked about, automate those reminders and check-ins. So making sure you have a good CRM that has pipeline stages where if they're sitting in a certain stage for a certain period of time, then essentially they, get automations, a simple check-in, a personalized message, whatever that is. Staying visible, automation is great for staying visible without you really having to make extra effort. Now, automation takes effort on the front end, but you don't have to manually chase every lead because hey, my people are hearing from me. You have follow-ups going out. You're sending value-driven emails often, a webinar like I do every month. Your systems are working in the background to keep you in front of people. And Micah, I don't know, is Micah still on? I'm going to call him out. Micah Coffee. He may have dropped off. Okay, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure that he found me through a YouTube video. He was looking for a problem, and that's how he got us. And now he's a client. And then be first in line when they're ready. When it comes time for them to make that decision, you want to be the first person they think of. And automation is what helps to make sure that they're not forgotten, basically. This is just a little peek inside our CRM. These are fake names. I think we got Dolly Parton in there. But this just shows you exactly how we run things. Each stage, there's an automated flow. So when a lead comes in, they don't just sit there, they're tagged, they're dropped into a nurture, and they're tracked. We have a Slack channel where every time there's an activity, just for momentum, to be honest, internally, if somebody's clicking, if somebody's registering, whatever it is, we got stuff popping off in our sales channel all the time just to get us excited, keep us excited. But if they ghost us, we're still showing up with value. This is not a, you give me 50%, I'll give you 50%. We're still showing up with value in the background no matter what. So it's not about chasing, it's about staying consistent. And this setup really helps us keep, tabs on every opportunity and make sure that we're spending time on the right opportunities, right? We're not looking in spreadsheets or trying to figure out let me think of who, we know exactly where everybody is at any given time. So when someone's finally ready to move, we're top of mind because we've been serving them all the way through the pipeline. This is just a fun little sample of how automation can turn to revenue. So this is just what's going off in our Slack channels. You can see it's really fun if you have a sales team. We have, basically automation and notifications all the time just to show us what's happening. Okay. We're kind of moving toward the finish line. So if we zoom out for a second, everything we've talked about today really comes down to 5 things. And they all build on each other. So it starts with this. You've got to stand out from the crowd. If your brand looks and sounds like every other company out there doing what you do, you're forgettable. Forgettable doesn't close deals. Your first job is to get noticed, clear messaging, strong positioning, and a reason for somebody to pause and say, okay, this feels different. This feels different. I like these people. And then once you've got their attention, you need to build trust early. People buy from people they trust. Trust starts before a discovery call ever happens, is in your content, your follow-ups, your tone. If somebody feels like they already know you because you've consistently been helpful, clear, and human, then you're already ahead of most of your competitors. And then we move into what you're actually saying, which is leading with outcomes. Remember, your clients don't care about your tools and dashboards. They want to see results. Show them what their life looks like after working with you. Less downtime, more productivity, peace of mind. That's really what sells. And then once you've got their trust and you're speaking their language, you stay top of mind. And this is where most people drop the ball. They focus on the hot leads, let the warm ones drift, or lose sight of those. And this is really where you can win with the follow-up automation. Reminders, content, keeping that gentle, consistent presence when that they're ready. You're ready. You know they're ready because you've already been there, right? And then serve, don't sell. If I've said it once in this last several years, I've said it 1,000 times. The companies who win at this are those who show up to help. And it's just a mindset shift. No pitch, no pressure, just help. That's how you create relationships that last and clients who don't shop around next time because they already know who to trust. So that's the shift from chasing to attracting, from selling to serving, from cold outreach to warm, qualified, ready to buy leads. That's how you convert more and chase less without burning yourself out to keep up. So anybody find value in this? Was this worth your time? Yeah, thumbs up. Good. Got a thumbs up. Great. I'm so glad. I said earlier, if you're kind of wondering, like, where do I even start with this? If you're not already working with us, or even if you are, if you want to do this, that's totally fine. We have, Anna can put it in the comments again. Yep, there she goes. We have a 360-degree marketing audit. Basically, it's giving us the opportunity to spend time doing a personalized audit of your current digital presence. We'll look at your website, messaging, lead generation, follow-up systems, and help kind of see what you're doing well and where there's room for improvement. This is not a sales pitch. This is truly just we love to serve. We love to help. We know that the right clients will come our way if that's, what's meant to be, but also we do really enjoy this. And it helps sharpen our sword too. And then we'll hop on a one-on-one session to review the findings. So this is where we connect those dots. I'll help you understand what I believe is holding you back, where your biggest opportunities are, and really where to focus your energy first, because it can get overwhelming. So no pressure at all. If you want to take advantage of this, you can click that link and grab it. But it's really the best way to move beyond this webinar and get kind of clarity on what to focus on in your business. So with that, I will open it up for questions. You guys have been a quiet but very quietly participating crowd, so I appreciate that. Any questions about what we talked about? Or No questions. All right. Well, if there are no questions, you know where to find me because you've got 1,000 emails from me. So don't be afraid to reach out. Thank you for joining today. I always love this time. It's one of my favorite things that we do here at the Business Growers. If you want more information on us, you can always go to thebusinessgrowers.com, and we hope to see you next time. Thanks so much. Thanks, Tom. Bye bye.